If it were for those who served in ancient times, only pickled mustard and plain porridge are served. Will they resist? You travel back in time. Become an overseer exiled to the frontier. He was responsible for overseeing the construction of border towns for the people serving corvée labor. But you just opened your eyes. You see hundreds of thousands of migrant workers eyeing you hungrily. His eyes even glow green. You have no doubt that they will charge at you the next second, tear you apart, swallow it whole. It turned out it started 2 months ago. The court no longer supplies grain. The workers' food rations could only be met by themselves. But during these 3 years, the Liang dynasty suffered continuous natural disasters. Drought and locust plagues have left fields with no harvest. The court was corrupt and unstable, plagues rampant. There were also barbarians lurking greedily with constant warfare. The people had long been in dire straits. The grass roots and bark had long been gnawed clean, and the only moldy rice bran and wheat bran left in the warehouse. The original owner, who had long been greedy for money, he sold them to unscrupulous grain merchants. So now, the original owner's deeds have been exposed. The migrant workers were filled with anger, and the original owner was actually scared to death. Now it's your turn to cross over and clean up the mess. You're really scared too, just because you're a sub-hell scumbag who stays up late all year round. When it came to real fighting, it might not even surpass the original owner's combat strength. You cry in your heart, calling out for the transmigration master. Other people's time travel comes with cheat codes. You were inexplicably taken over by someone to take the blame. They should at least have some self-protection ability. It was as if they heard your prayer. The next second, the system's mechanical voice sounded in his ear. Congratulations to the host for binding to the domination system. Ensures the host's survival rate. The system will provide you with unlimited amounts of plain porridge and pickled mustard greens. Only by increasing prestige can new resources be unlocked. Upon achieving the Dominate the World achievement, you can receive the ultimate reward of 50 billion. A single Changchun pill that can restore youth and eliminate all ailments. What a thing. White porridge and pickled mustard greens. They're already fighting right at their doorstep. What's the point of giving these things? At the very least, they should be given 100,000 elite soldiers. That's it. Able to suppress these victims who want to take me down. This bland and tasteless plain porridge, plus the salty, unhealthy pickled mustard greens. Who would care about the noise? I want to use this. Migrant workers are made to do 10 hours of hard labor every day. Isn't this a joke? System, wake up. But the system seemed dead, completely ignoring your calls. They just handed out plain porridge and pickled mustard greens, just when you are in deep despair. Then he heard the migrant workers' angry cursing. Corrupt officials were starving to death. They even sold our only food supply. You're simply inferior to a beast. Everyone go with me. Kill this corrupt official. Close your eyes to the sun. Prepare to silently welcome the arrival of death. He only hoped that, after dying, he could travel back in time. This kind of world where you have nothing and have nothing. Look no further. Suddenly, the scene fell into a dead silence. Open your eyes and take a look. He found that everyone was shocked. I stared at you in shock. You were stunned for a moment. The aroma of white rice porridge wafted to his nose. Only then did he realize the supplies provided by the system had arrived. The rice-fragrant white rice porridge was still steaming hot. The common folk looked at you in confusion. It was actually plain rice porridge, and all the rice used is polished. I'm not dreaming. If only I could have a bowl of such good white rice porridge. So even if I died right now, I'm also willing. This bland white rice porridge. To them, it was an unattainable delicacy. Everyone lined up to come forward to receive the white porridge and pickled vegetables. Everyone has a share, and it's enough to fill you up. The words just fell. The migrant workers instantly went wild. The scene erupted in an uproar, accompanied by bursts of crying and screams. They couldn't believe it. Such a good fortune actually happened to him. Some even suspect you might be plotting something. You don't say a word. Just pick up the spoon. A bowl full of thick white rice porridge. It was handed to a skinny python man. Use your actions to prove that everything you say is true. Don't worry. What I said was true. You can eat as much as you want from this white rice porridge. Enough. The man didn't care whether the porridge was still steaming hot. He swallowed it down in one gulp. Oh my God, this smells amazing. Is this what polished rice tastes like? I have lived my whole life. I've never tasted white rice porridge so fragrant and sweet before. The other workers saw his face full of enjoyment. I couldn't hold back any longer. He rushed straight over, scrambling to start drinking porridge. Some people didn't even have time to get their bowls. He directly put both hands into the porridge bucket. He held the porridge and brought it to his mouth. Some people eat while crying bitterly. Tens of thousands. They'd all been driven mad by a bowl of white rice porridge. You worry about chaos. He quickly ordered the nearby officials to maintain order, but no one responded. You turn your head to look. He noticed that the officers were also drooling over the plain porridge. His eyes glowed green. Some people couldn't even hold back anymore. Grabbing a whip, he charged into the ranks of the migrant workers. Get out of here. Let me eat first. The scene was in utter chaos. 3 men with green cloth strips tied around their arms. He stood there dumbfounded. Watching this idle scene, you suddenly feel a bit puzzled. Everyone looked like starving ghosts. They desperately fought for the white rice porridge. Why are the 3 of them completely silent? Aren't they hungry? Or maybe they were still shocked and hadn't come to their senses. Kindly wave at them. Those 3 brothers over there. Hurry over and have some white rice porridge. Rest assured, there's plenty of white rice porridge. I guarantee you'll have enough to eat every meal. The 3 looked radiant. They were the Green Forest Army from the nearby forests. This time, it was under the orders of the chief master, secretly infiltrating the laborers and stirring up public resentment. He led everyone in the uprising, but the aroma of white rice porridge kept wafting into his nose. They couldn't help but swallow hard. Gritting his teeth, he stood where he was. He held out for less than 15 minutes. Her willpower was already starting to falter. Now you've greeted me so warmly twice. I just couldn't hold on any longer. He immediately charged forward with a soft cry. Just like those migrant workers, they started frantically scrambling to drink the white rice porridge. Seeing this, you can't help but feel a bit puzzled. Could it be the white rice porridge provided by the system? It's different from the white rice porridge you usually drink. Curious, he took a bowl of plain porridge and took a sip. Still as bland and tasteless as ever. So bland that it was hard to swallow. Only then did you realize, belatedly, the system also offers unlimited pickled mustard. You hurriedly checked the supplies. Only then did I realize the pickled mustard was placed in the wooden bucket at the back. You only drank the white rice porridge in your hand while eating the pickled mustard. Don't just eat white rice porridge. There's also pickled mustard here. The words just fell. The scene was dead silent. Everyone looked at you with a calm expression. It was as if a pause button had been pressed. His blank gaze fell on the piles of pickled mustard. It took him a long time to react. In an instant, screams echoed in your ears again. The migrant workers rushed over like crazy. He grabbed the pickled mustard and started feeding it to his mouth. One bite is full of savory flavor. Oh my God, it actually worked. There was a lot of salt in this pickled mustard. In ancient times, salt was also a very precious commodity. Ordinary people consume very little salt in a year. Not to mention, this is during these years of constant natural disasters. It's not an exaggeration to say that the prices of salt and gold are equal. Soon, the rice porridge and pickled mustard were completely eaten. You quickly poked the system. The next second, a new batch of white rice porridge and pickled mustard greens appeared before my eyes. The migrant workers were instantly stunned. Only then do they believe you are not lying. White rice porridge and pickled mustard are truly served in unlimited quantities. They can eat their fill as much as they want. Everyone knelt before you with a thud, crying out loudly, "Clear heaven, your majesty. You are the living bodhisattva who saves lives from suffering." You've never seen anything like this before. When you want to help all these people up, but you give it your all. No matter how hard you pull, it won't budge. Some even started kowtowing to you, Wei. The sound is so loud it makes you feel a bit uneasy. Only now do you realize that in this ancient era, ordinary plain white porridge and pickled mustard greens. What exactly does it mean? And what kind of terrifying influence does he have? Almost it can be said, he was a force capable of standing against 100,000 heroic soldiers. He really wasn't used to being bowed to like this. He quickly ordered everyone to get up and eat. After saying this, he hurried back to his own place. The house you live in is a full 2 li from the construction site, but it's so far away. You can hear the migrant workers shouting, "Living bodhisattva." Soon, everyone was full. Thank you, Dade. I remember that not long ago, they even called you a corrupt official. He even wanted to kill you to vent his anger. He was overwhelmed with shame and regret. The overseer treats us so well. We actually want to kill him. It's not as good as a beast. From now on, my life belongs to the overseer. He was willing to risk going through fire and water so that I can repay your kindness. Someone actually took the initiative to tie up Lu Linjun's spy. Delivered to you. Playing tricks, he cursed out loud in anger. You spineless fools. He was bribed after just 1 full meal. Maybe this is just a trap set by corrupt officials. After this meal, I'll send you to your deaths. But the migrant workers were completely unmoved. To have such sweet white rice porridge and pickled mustard greens, it allows them to experience what it feels like to be full in one go. Even if it meant sending them to their deaths, they would have no complaints. Originally, they would have helped these Lu Linjuns back then. It's because they really can't afford to eat or survive. And Lu Linjun once promised them, if you can achieve great things, promise to share the grain with them. But now, your porridge and pickled mustard are right in front of you. But Lu Linjun's food supply was far from complete. Which side must the ultimate realm choose? Isn't that obvious? No one felt at all that they had done anything wrong. Some even felt that the drama was ungrateful. Clearly, it's the sky. They also ate white rice porridge and pickled mustard. But it turned out to be a heartless and ungrateful wolf, still thinking about leading others to rebel against you. Those who oppose their own benefactors. Of course, the migrant workers would not tolerate this. The drama fell silent instantly. They are exactly the three you called out during the day. A man with green cloth wrapped around his arm. After a few minutes of silence, suddenly he asked for real. Is white rice porridge and pickled mustard enough to fill you up every day? You nodded, of course. A true man wields 19 tripods. I don't lack porridge or pickled mustard. Eat as much as you want. The words just fell. The three men kowtowed 9 times to you. The Lord is above. From now on, we will look to you at your forefront. If you break your oath, I am certain to die without a place to be buried. You were stunned for a long time before realizing she had recognized her master. All for a bowl of plain porridge and pickled mustard greens. It sounds somewhat absurd, but that's what it is. After those 3 men surrendered to you, he ate 3 full meals. He also filled several large jars of white rice porridge with wine jars. So I asked you for leave. After Tion's departure, over 2,000 men suddenly appear before you. Without another word, he knelt down and performed the grand bow of seal worship. It turned out they were the Green Forest Army hiding in the mountains. According to his 3 brothers, here you can serve unlimited amounts of white rice porridge and pickled mustard greens. And every meal was filling. Everyone was stunned afterwards. What ambition! All talk of conspiring together for great matters was thrown out of their minds. When you have a full meal, all of that is just fleeting clouds. So after discussing it, they unanimously decided to descend the mountain to seek refuge with you. They have no other demands. There is only one thing. You can keep your promise. 3 meals a day, white rice porridge, and pickled mustard are enough to fill you up. This way you can effortlessly do it. He gathered a team of 2,000 people. Moreover, they were not loyal to the Liang dynasty, just loyal to you alone. Because after eating your fill, everyone's enthusiasm for work is extremely high. The speed of building border towns and city walls. Twice as fast as before. They were even secretly discussing things behind the scenes. I want to build a temple for you, so you can enjoy human offerings for a long time. Meanwhile, the imperial battle for the throne had also come to fruition. The new emperor ascended the throne to consolidate power. He began to target him desperately. The brothers who once competed with him for the throne. The other princes were also dissatisfied, relying on the power he held, fighting the new emperor to the death. The entire Daliang dynasty was shrouded in chaos. And Prince Su, who was defeated in battle, he fled the capital with his troops, rushing to the frontier. To expand the army, he considered taking control of the border towns. Rush all the laborers into the army. Before that, naturally, they have to get rid of you first. This respected supervisor. For this reason, Prince Su sent his top fierce general, Xiao Yuan, led 3,000 cavalry to attack you. He wanted a quick and decisive victory. Until the army was at the gates of the city. Standing on the city wall, I was completely stunned. After all, the city wall is now less than half repaired. You are far from the enemy's fierce General Xiao Yuan. It was less than 3 meters apart. As long as the opponent delivers a single lash, you will die under his iron hooves. The gap between the two sides was simply too great. There was simply no strength to resist. Since it's hard, it's not good. Then you can only go for the soft one. A batch of plain porridge and pickled mustard was directly distributed. He personally delivered it to Xiao Yuan. General, you must have come all this way. Let's eat something to cushion our stomachs first. After all, people take food as their heaven. Whether they want to fight to the death or death, you have to fill your stomach before talking. Looking at the steaming white rice porridge and pickled mustard soaked in red oil, the aroma hits your nose. The previously solemn and murderous General Xiao Yuan. He was instantly stunned on the spot. His eyes were fixed on the white rice porridge and pickled mustard greens. That was just enough to shake people's hearts. A murderous look that terrified anyone. At this moment, only the desire for food remains. Even the Grand General is like this. Not to mention the 3,000 cavalry behind him. Some even fell off their horses. He rolled and crawled to the front of the porridge bucket. He picked up a bowl of white rice porridge and stuffed it into his mouth. It's so fragrant. The soldier was practically red-eyed with food, although they were the prince's most elite cavalrymen. But even so, they still couldn't get enough to eat. On weekdays, he could only eat 1 meal a day, with moldy rice bran and wheat bran. Even this alone is already much better than ordinary people. They are still hungry. I was so hungry. Now, facing these big buckets of fragrant white rice porridge. How could he possibly hold back? What prince's orders? The idea of military orders being as strict as mountains had long been forgotten. Only white rice porridge is real. With the first person, the people behind couldn't hold back any longer. They all swarmed over, rushing onto the porridge buckets and wolfing down their food. General Xiao Yuan swallowed nervously. Watch you warily. You quickly raise your hands. He stated that he had no intention of going to war with him. He then voluntarily led the workers back 500 meters. After Xiao Yuan saw the soldiers eat the porridge and pickled vegetables, there was no official business. Only then did he feel reassured and step forward. Join the ranks, fighting for food. And so, the 3,000 cavalry originally meant to subdue you. You only had one unlimited meal of white rice porridge and pickled mustard greens. He completely conquered them. After a conversation with General Xiao Yuan, you will realize how hard their lives are. 9 meals of starvation in 3 days. He also had to follow Prince Su on campaigns north and south. The problem is that they still resist the barbarians, but rather to fight for power and profit, fighting to the death with their own compatriots. They had long grown tired of such internal strife. You from peaceful times. I deeply sympathize with their situation. He immediately patted his chest with great pride. As long as you can join me. From then on, he had 3 meals a day of plain porridge and pickled vegetables. Every meal is enough. Xiao Yuan was shocked upon hearing this. After repeatedly confirming with you, he immediately knelt down with a thud, not yet comparing Xiao Yuan to his incompetence. He also led troops in battle for more than 10 years. I only regret that the ruler is foolish. His brothers endured countless hardships and hardships. He did not let his heart suffer deeply. Now, after finally meeting the Lord, such a benevolent and righteous ruler who cherishes the world in his heart, I have not yet wished to brave fire and water for my Lord. He did not refuse to do so. After saying that, he rattled his head 9 times. You were startled. Hurry and help him up. He stationed 3,000 cavalry within the border city. Anyway, in recent years, natural disasters and man-made calamities. Among the common people, there were no more than 10 casualties, but 1 remain alive. There are plenty of vacant houses. No worries about not having a place to stay. Meanwhile, Prince Su was still waiting for Xiao Yuan's good news. Hua actually thought to him. The cavalry led by Xiao Yuan was the most elite force under his command. But on your side, there is only a group of migrant workers. Getting rid of you is just a matter of lifting your fingers. But he never expected this. You only used a bowl of plain porridge to take him down. The most elite troops under his command surrendered. Prince Su waited for a whole day and night without Xiao Yuan returning. He then dispatched a second army to provide support. Then, the same scene appeared one day. All you need is a big wave of your hand. Serve unlimited amounts of plain porridge and pickled mustard greens. This can make the opponent bow and submit, leading to defeat without a fight. Prince Su waited another whole day. I found a second one I'd sent out. After the army never returned, he finally faces you as an opponent. This time, he directly led the remaining 10,000 troops. They pressed forward in a grand force toward the border city. Before you can worry about battles, Xiao Yuan took the initiative to step forward. I am not willing to lead the cavalry to capture the rebel Prince Su. Of course, you have no objections. Thus, Prince Su led his army halfway there. He then encountered Xiao Yuan, who was returning with cavalry. Prince Su was very dissatisfied with this. It was nothing more than strangling a group of unarmed civilians. Why did you go for so long? He was still waiting for Xiao Yuan to kowtow and confess his guilt. But what he didn't expect was, Xiao Yuan immediately ordered an attack. Brothers rush and captured Prince Su alive. With his order, 3,000 cavalry roared in unison. Kill it. Prince Watisu, defend the porridge and pickled vegetables. King Su was completely stunned on the spot. What's wrong with you? What white porridge, pickled mustard? His most loyal first general, and the most elite 3,000 cavalry. Why did he suddenly betray us? But the crisis was right in front of them. He didn't have time to get to the bottom of it. The urgent task was to suppress these first, daring to betray this bastard. Su Wang you shi wu kong. After all, he commanded a full 10,000 troops. Xiao Yuan only had 3,000 men under his command. Then Prince Su waved his hand. The army directly crushed them. We must kill these rebels without mercy. I thought the outcome was almost obvious. But once the real fight began, only then did King Su realize the reality was not what he had imagined. Xiao Yuan's cavalry was incredibly brave. Meanwhile, his own troops were utterly routed, suffering heavy casualties. At this point, both sides clashed and stood side by side. Only then did he clearly see the difference between the two armies. All his men were sallow and gaunt. Yet Xiao Yuan's cavalry all looked glowing with red energy. Just because they ate their fill for 2 days. He was full of energy inside and out, far beyond what these exhausted troops, who had gone hungry for 3 days, could compare. You followed the army and arrived late. My heart hurt excruciatingly. After all, it's in my heart. These are all my future soldiers. Since you can use plain porridge to turn Xiao Yuan, naturally, he could also turn these soldiers into defection. You want them to stop fighting. But on the battlefield, no one listens to you at all. You immediately had a sudden idea. A large batch of plain porridge and pickled mustard was also distributed. The aroma of food surged in like a flood. The soldiers who had just been fighting to the death. He instantly stopped what he was doing. It felt as if the entire venue had been hit on pause. All the soldiers were sniffled, smelling the aroma of rice in the air. Finally, the target was locked. Looking at those rows of huge porridge buckets, and the sticky white rice porridge in the bucket, everyone was stunned in an instant. What rebels? What royal order? What about killing without mercy? Everything has vanished. Now, all they had left was one thought. That is eating. After a moment of stunned silence, the soldiers under Du Wang's banner, Yoji and his companions all lunged toward the porridge bucket. Some people took off their helmets and used them as bowls, and drank white rice porridge. The other soldiers without containers didn't have time to burn themselves. He simply cupped the porridge with both hands and drank it. You also ordered people to bring large barrels. Pour the pickled mustard greens into the white rice porridge. The already fragrant white rice porridge was now savory. A layer of bright, red, marbling floated on the surface of the porridge. This made the starving soldiers even more ecstatic. They were simply going crazy, as if they never knew when they were hungry, continuously devouring the salty porridge, eating while crying. This is the life of people. What kind of life was they living there before? They were practically like cattle or horses. At this moment, no one paid attention to the lofty Prince Su. Xiao Yuan immediately ordered men to surround and capture Prince Su. At this point, Prince Su was left alone as a commander. Only a few were truly loyal. His trusted death warriors remained by his side. Seeing that the situation was lost, Prince Su felt completely powerless to fight. Right now, all he wants is to run. So Prince Su took a dozen or so. Trusted warriors fought desperately to break through. He fled straight toward the barbarians. Meanwhile, Xiao Yuan was relentlessly chasing from behind. Several times, Prince Su was almost caught by him. Prince Su was utterly furious. Xiao Yuan, I have always treated you well. Why did you betray me and kill me as much as possible? Xiao Yuan sneered disdainfully upon hearing this. All these years, my soldiers and I have been loyal to you. But what about you? All he wanted was to fight for power and position. Every day, we fought against the imperial army, and they even owned military supplies. They couldn't even eat enough and wear warm. We went hungry 9 times in 3 days. They also ate moldy rice bran and wheat bran, compared with. But Lin Bei provided the people with 3 meals a day, plain porridge and pickled vegetables. If it were you, who would you choose? Prince Su was furious. Just for a bowl of plain porridge. These troops actually betrayed him. He was forced to seize him and set out alone on the path of escape. In the face of life and death, Prince Su unleashed extraordinary strength. He headed straight out of the border town and fled to the barbarians. The barbarian army had long been eyeing the border with a hawkish eye. Upon learning that a prince from the great Liang dynasty had come to seek refuge, naturally, he gladly accepted it. While, don't be afraid of no firewood. He decided to ally with the barbarians and counterattacked the Daliang dynasty. And the first step is to get rid of you. This overseer who took away his soldiers. Xiao Yuan came back with a face full of shame and madness to report to you. He ate so much white rice, pickled mustard from you. But in the end, he failed on his very first attempt. Looking at him, he looked like he was desperate. The appearance of someone committing suicide on the spot to apologize. Quickly help him up. I always found it strange. Just now, Prince Su clearly only had a few trusted aides left. He was almost left as a lone commander. How did he manage to escape Xiao Yuan's pursuit? Xiao Yuan had already ordered someone to investigate. Only then did you realize there were barbarian hands behind the scenes. During these 3 years, the Liang dynasty suffered continuous natural disasters. The people were almost completely empty, suffering countless casualties. The situation was the same on the barbarian side. So for the past 2 or 3 years, they have been eyeing the Liang dynasty covetously. He repeatedly harassed the border. They stormed into the border town, burning, killing, and looting. It's simply because their own personnel are suffering heavy losses. Therefore, no large-scale war was ever launched. But now, 3 years have passed since the famine. The situation on the barbarian side was far from optimistic. 所以今年蛮夷边陈兵边城蠢蠢欲动. War could break out at any moment. Prince Su's defection was the trigger. The barbarian army was at the foot of the city, and you only have a few thousand troops on your side. The rest were just ordinary laborers. The city defense construction was also quite rudimentary. So far, the city walls have only been barely completed. The barbarians launched an attack. With our current strength, collapse is only a matter of time. Xiao Yuan led several thousand soldiers to volunteer for battle. On the Green Forest Army side, they also organized a miscellaneous force. But compared to the tens of thousands of troops on the barbarian side, it was nowhere near enough. The number of people was already vastly different. Not to mention, the barbarians grew up on horseback. Children of several years old were skilled in horsemanship and brave in battle. Cavalry alone can completely crush your troops. Besides, the barbarians usually graze on the grasslands. His physical fitness was much stronger than that of the people of the Great Liang dynasty. Plus, their daily diet is mainly meat-based. Individual combat strength matched the soldiers of the Daliang dynasty. They can almost take on 3 opponents at once. So even during the peak of the Daliang dynasty, fighting barbarians also resulted in more losses than victories. That was still the regular army of the imperial court. Each campaign brought at least hundreds of thousands of elite soldiers. Even if it ends like this, not to mention the thousands of ragtag troops under your command. If a real war breaks out, it's no different from throwing an egg at a rock. You're really getting a headache. This was simply a heaven-shattering start. The situation is truly grim. You decisively reported to your superiors for support. Originally, Prince Su's attack was an internal struggle. The county magistrate and prefect pretended to be deaf and mute. You can somewhat understand that. They were probably afraid of offending Prince Su. It will be reckoned with in the future. But now the situation is different. The barbarian army launched an attack. This belongs to the foreign enemy. It was only right that the court dispatched troops to resist. But what you didn't expect was, the magistrate directly passed the ball to the prefect. The prefect then kicked the ball to the court, reporting layer by layer. But in the end, it vanished without a trace. No one pays attention to you at all. You're absolutely shocked. No one would have imagined that the court had become so corrupt. There is time to compete for power and gain with each other. Internal strife every day. But he lacked the energy to resist the barbarian army. Is this what they call the imperial court? You're so angry you curse in your heart. Such a court is bound to collapse sooner or later. But that's all for the future. The urgent task was how to defeat the barbarian army. The people also knew that this was a matter of life and death. They all rushed to the border town with their families. While mooching on food, he raised his arm and shouted loudly, "Volunteer to join the army and fight for you." Just then, the system suddenly issued a notification. "Congratulations, host, you have gained 50,000 prestige points. Unlimited supply of reward steamed buns. Braised pork is served unlimited." You instantly become overjoyed. Now 50,000 loyal citizens have spontaneously formed an army. Even if it could only be 3 against 1. You already have an army of 20,000. But just drinking porridge and eating pickled mustard greens is obvious. Unable to maintain high-intensity combat. Now, unlimited supply of steamed buns and braised pork has been added. It was even more like a tiger with wings. Even in the modern world, where food and clothing are abundant, steamed buns and braised pork are also highly sought after by countless people. Not to mention the constant famine in this era. In ancient times, 9 meals were eaten in 3 days. This is an even more dimensionality-reducing blow. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck you. He thought of a way to avoid fighting, and the method of subduing the enemy's troops. You then issued 2 orders. First, let civilians voluntarily join the army. You began training under General Xiao Yuan. For this, you rely on the videos you have seen in your memory. It describes the methods of military training. For example, obstacle running and stretching. It is essential to train this troop. Become an unbeatable elite force. Hua was able to face a life-or-death crisis. The people who are the first to respond and fight for you. They are definitely the most loyal to you. The second order was to defend the city and not come out. No matter how the barbarians curse. You made people turn a blind eye and hear a sound. He just kept training behind closed doors. On that day, you start distributing unlimited steamed buns and braised pork, and white rice porridge with pickled mustard greens. This allowed the soldiers and all the common people to eat their fill. Almost everyone was going crazy during years of famine. A new year when people everywhere can't even get enough to eat. They were actually able to eat white rice porridge made from stalked rice, a large steamed bun made from refined dough, and the oily braised pork. It was simply a day like a fairy. No, perhaps even immortals are not as fortunate as they are. Just one short week passed, moistened by steamed buns, braised pork, and white rice porridge. The people who once fell at the slightest touch of emaciated bones. Now, each of them was glowing with red energy and strong and healthy. The soldiers were even more full of energy, wielding his sword and blade, fierce and fierce, his spirit brimming with fierce intent. In contrast, the barbarian army lacked provisions. All the people of the border town have come to you. They wanted to plunder, but had no marks. During this time, they launched several assaults on the city. Xiao Yuan led his troops to drive them back. After all, they had these troops under their command. They wanted to confront the barbarian army head-on. The chances of winning may be very low, but defending the city was more than enough. A week passed, and your troops were well-fed and well-fed. Strong. On the barbarian side, however, they were starving, their faces sallow and thin, their eyes green. Look, it's about time. He then unleashed his assassin bronze. After everyone had eaten and drunk their fill, he went up the city wall and distributed a batch. White rice porridge, braised pork, and big white steam buns. And the pot on the rack keeps heating up. The steaming scent surged outward. The barbarian army, already starving to the point of chest to back, smelled this fragrant aroma. Everyone started drooling profusely. He gazed obsessively toward the direction of the city wall. They wondered if they were starving to death. That's why hallucinations occur. Otherwise, in this famine year, you won't even be able to eat grass roots or tree bark. How could they smell the aroma of rice porridge and stewed meat? You watch coldly as they are drawn by the scent. After bursts of chaos, standing on the city wall, he declared loudly, "Our Limbei supplies unlimited quantities. White rice porridge, pickled mustard cabbage, big steamed buns, braised pork. 3 meals a day. Every meal is enough to fill the stomach. Willing to join me? Drop your weapon. Kneel down and surrender. White rice porridge, big steamed buns, braised pork. Every meal is enough to fill the stomach. This is simply a fairy-like life. I wouldn't even dare to dream about it. We are willing to surrender. Please, sir, give us a bite to eat." The barbarian general was furious. He picked up the whip and began lashing fiercely at the nearest soldier. "You spineless fools." He actually knelt before the people of the great Liang dynasty. All for a full meal. He didn't even lose his backbone. It's utterly disgraceful to us men of the grasslands. But no one paid attention to their words. The local soldiers scrambled away from him. He kept kowtowing and pleading toward the city gate. "All I want is to have a full bite of food. What dignity for a man from the grasslands? What matters more than having a meal?" The barbarian general was nearly driven mad. To intimidate the army, he directly ordered any soldier who dared to surrender or flee. All of them were killed without punishment. With his order, his trusted soldiers immediately swung their broadswords. He beheaded more than a dozen surrendered soldiers in succession. You look at the bloodstains scattered across the enemy camp. He couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Although it is said that in times of chaos, harsh laws are used. The barbarian general is indeed ruthless. But in front of someone so hungry they've lost their mind, all schemes and tactics are useless. Only by feeding them can they submit. Opposite, anything that blocks them from eating their fill, no matter what identity they had before, even their direct superiors, they were killed without hesitation. Indeed, the barbarian general's cruel deeds. This completely ignited the soldiers' anger. Now, all you need is an opportunity. Only someone needs to take the lead. They will raise their slaughter knives and begin to resist. Seize the moment and call out to the barbarian army. Brothers of the alien race. These dog generals usually live a life of luxury. Yet you have to work for them on an empty stomach. Right now, we just want to eat our fill. They actually started shouting and killing their own people. This is simply worse than pigs and dogs. The brothers killed them. Everyone came together to drink porridge and eat meat. Lin Bei, will be waiting for you right here. The words just fell. The barbarian soldiers immediately shouted loudly, "Kill these dog generals." Then tens of thousands of troops picked up their weapons and turned their spearheads. He charged at the barbarian generals. For a moment, the barbarian army began to enter the city. Ordinary soldiers who wanted to eat their fill, and the trusted aide who risked his life to protect the barbarian general. The soldiers were numerous, betting everything on one desperate gamble. The other side had fewer people, but each one was an elite force capable of fighting 10 opponents alone. Both sides were evenly matched in combat power, locked in a fierce battle. This battle lasted a whole day and night. Until dawn, the results came out. All the barbarian generals were slain. The barbarian soldiers also suffered heavy casualties. Less than half the number remained. All those who survived dropped their weapons, kneeling beneath the city gate. He bows to you to show his submission. Lord Lin, we have already slain those dog generals. Do the promises you made still count? Can we really eat meat every day for 3 meals? You don't say a word. Immediately start distributing a bucket of again. A bucket of thick, cooked, white rice porridge. Basket after basket of white steamed buns bigger than a head. Batch after pot of oily, glowing braised pork. Placed before you, it was like a small mountain. The starving barbarian soldiers all had eyes shining brightly. He scrambled and lunged forward. He grabbed a steamed bun and stuffed it into his mouth. Some people were holding their pots. He buried his whole head in the braised pork, inhaling it wildly. There were even men 2 meters tall. He grabbed the porridge bucket and gulped it straight into his mouth. Not afraid of the scorching heat at all. Food can burn your throat. You even saw a burly man with both legs severed. She crawled up to the porridge bucket with a sulky scent. Squeeze your hands together. He threw himself completely into the porridge bucket, devouring food in a frenzy. You stared in amazement. Originally, you were concerned that those who are not of our kind must have different hearts. There was concern that after they had eaten their fill, they might pick up arms again, turn around and attack the border town. But now you see their utterly miserable way of eating. You suddenly feel relieved. You realize once again that unlimited food supply is available. Just how influential is this kind of thing? As long as you can continuously supply supplies, I imagine more and more people will submit to you. Even the vow he once swore to report daily excellence. The Sioux king who wants to tear you to pieces. He also mingled among the captives. Holding the braised pork, I eagerly ate it. In the days that followed, he was just like the other prisoners. Every day, as soon as I open my eyes, I eat. During this time, trusted assassins also contacted him. She wanted to escape with him, continue to seek opportunities for reinstatement. But Prince Su refused. During this period, he had been starving every day with a barbarian army. He could only drink 1 bowl a day, not knowing what it was. The porridge was simmered into a dark, clear broth and watery water. He felt like he was already sick from hunger. Every day, you don't see huge piles of food. He felt anxious inside. Now, I just want to be like Xiao Shan. Steamed buns and braised pork are kept together. What restoration and privilege achievements, what the throne. I no longer have the energy to think about it. Suddenly, I felt that this would make me feel full. Having enough days is actually quite good. Got out of here. Where else could this be? Generously supplying me with food. Just like that when you don't know it. Yet he relied solely on steamed buns and braised pork. He captured the heart of an ambitious prince. And you didn't even lose a single soldier. And completely annihilated the barbarian army. 50,000 captives will be completely submitted to you. For this, you enroll them in a miscellaneous army. The training was personally overseen by Grand General Xiao Yuan. These barbarian soldiers were different from the common people. They don't care at all about loyalty or not. Who feeds them? They submit to whomever they serve. And now you're the world's largest food supplier. Naturally, he was the object of their loyalty. This victory gave you the strength to dominate your region. The people will be more loyal to you. You can hear it for several nights. Around the camp, people were imitating the cries of foxes and shouting. The world is about to prosper. Lin Bei became king. The next day, every soldier was extremely excited. His eyes sparkled as he looked at you. Xiao Yuan even took the initiative to suggest to you, so you can rise up and become king. You were instantly speechless. Without hesitation, he ordered the night patrols to be intensified. Whenever he saw a fox appearing, he would hunt it immediately. After all, foxes are carnivores. If someone gets left alone and gets eaten, that's a disaster. Hearing you say that, Xiao Yuan was so shocked he was dumbfounded. Everyone sees it one way, as if saying the stage is already set up for you. Why don't you just go back on the slope when you don't get it? You're speechless. It's scary to be uneducated. These short-sighted guys. Are you afraid I'll die too slowly? Although the Dalian dynasty is now rife with corruption and constant internal strife, but a centipede dies without a fixed price. The reason it seems so fragile is that it seems so weak. It's because they're busy with internal strife. There was no time to look elsewhere. At this moment, I rose up and raised my pole. Wouldn't that be like setting a sitting duck? At that time, the various factions vying for the throne in the court. They will surely unite. First, eliminate me, this utterly treacherous traitor. Meanwhile, they can still take advantage of the opportunity to eliminate me. Wear down the enemy's forces. Strengthen your own army. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Wouldn't I be making a wedding dress for someone else? Such a self-destructive matter. I won't do it. Ever since you strictly forbade hearing foxes call, the soldiers and civilians all quieted down for a while. He began wholeheartedly building military defenses. You also brought out modern advanced iron smelting technology and a variety of advanced weapons. For example, Zhuge Liang dined on a cattle dining bed. Let the craftsmen and blacksmiths under him study deeply. For this, Yu even formed a special army. He ordered them to search for craftsmen from all over the country. Bring them back to the border town. After all, you know how advanced it is. Technology is the primary combat power. You don't worry at all about anyone rejecting you, because you will provide them with unlimited supplies. White rice porridge, braised pork, big steamed buns, pickled mustard greens. How much as you want. Meals and lodging are included, so every meal is enough. Under the temptation of your food, countless craftsmen poured in from all directions. You don't need to go out and search for them at all. There were even many scholars who came uninvited. I volunteered to do the work for you. Their demands are not high. As long as you can provide steamed buns and braised pork for 3 meals a day, every meal is enough to fill you up. These days, even scholars have a hard time. Everyone's demands for life have dropped to the lowest level. As long as survival is guaranteed, that's enough. Naturally, you gladly accepted. Of course, the more people who offer good quality and affordable talent, the better. But as your stall grows bigger and bigger, production and construction gradually got back on track. Only then did you realize you simply didn't have enough people under you. So you formed over 100 squads, specifically for recruiting talent. The conditions you offered were very favorable and unreliable. Any craftsman willing to come to the border town to work for you. You will provide meals and accommodation for everyone. Every meal has meat, and every meal is enough to fill you up. And every month, they rewarded 100 large steamed buns and 10 jin of braised pork, a bucket of pickled mustard greens, and a bucket of white rice porridge. Once such conditions are announced in other towns, it instantly caused a huge uproar. In this year of constant disaster and famine, going hungry 9 times in 3 days is a daily routine. Those who gnaw on grass roots and bark are already in relatively good situations. Even craftsmen with specialized skills. And only 1 bowl of clear water a day. You can see the porridge cooked with rice bran at the bottom of the bowl. Everyone was so hungry their faces were pale and thin. After today, you don't even know if there's anything left to eat tomorrow. Suddenly, someone ran over to tell them. As long as they were willing to work in the border town, they could live comfortably and comfortably. To them, this was nothing short of a fantasy. Some even suspect you want to trick them into killing them and eating their meat. After all, in these famine-stricken years, exchanging children for food is not unusual. Hearing everyone's concerns, the deputy general responsible for recruiting talent is direct. Bucket after bucket of steamed buns and pickled mustard greens were brought out. These 2 items are relatively easy to carry, although it can't compare to braised pork. But such abundant food was right before our eyes. In an instant, the entire town was in an uproar. Everyone's eyes lit up as they gathered around. Lots of steamed buns. Such fragrant pickled mustard greens. Is this really meant for us to eat? I can't be dreaming. So many steamed buns. It looks so soft. Rest assured, fellow villagers, as long as you go to the border town and work for my master, meals like this are served in unlimited quantities. Every meal is enough to fill the stomach. And if done well, there are also monthly rewards. The rewards were also steamed buns, pickled mustard greens, braised pork, and white rice porridge. Eat whichever you want, if you can bring your whole family. If young and old go to the border town together to work, double the rewards. Hear me, as long as Duanyang and the child were brought along, the reward silver should be doubled. Should we go? To gain everyone's trust, the deputy general directly took the existing steamed buns and pickled mustard. All of these were distributed to family members who expressed intentions to go to the border town. Steamed buns made from refined rice and flour, plus pickled mustard greens with a strong, salty flavor. Everyone ate with faces full of delight. It was as if they were feasting on delicacies. For the first time in 3 years, they felt it. The feeling of fullness and fullness in my stomach. This feeling was truly wonderful, making it impossible for them to let go. At this moment, they finally made up their minds. The whole family moved to the border town. Anyway, working wherever is not work. The border town had at least more than enough food to eat. As a result, more and more craftsmen are joining, continuously surging toward the border town. At the same time, there are related logistics units. Supplies were continuously delivered to them. Large amounts of food entered major towns. This caused dissatisfaction among grain merchants. So on this day, a unit of troops responsible for transporting supplies arrived. They encountered the bandits' argument. Everyone was taken captive and taken up the mountain. They sent a soldier back to deliver the news. They wanted to ransom these soldiers. Each person should use 100 jin of braised pork, 500 big steamed buns, and 500 jin of pickled mustard greens. Exchange 10 buckets of rice porridge. A squad of 100 people. This ransom must be paid for. tens of thousands of grains in exchange. There was so much grain during a year of famine. It could almost sustain an entire army. These bandits were simply bloated and overpowered. He dares to lay hands on you as well. You are simply unattainable. If it weren't for those local soldiers still alive, you wish you could send troops to immediately wipe out these native three. 魏将请战. I request the general to issue the order. I understand your bravery in my heart, but every life is as weighty as a mountain. When we set out, I will weigh the options. You can't think of a good solution right away. If there were a bottle of poison now, it would be great if you could just knock down all that dirt. You just thought of this. Suddenly, the system's voice echoed in his mind. Congratulations, host, for unlocking the weapon shop. The host can use prestige points. Exchange for unlimited supplies in the shop. You are ecstatic. Quickly open the weapon shop. Start a quick browse. Sure enough, they quickly found an inhaled anesthetic. This is the best fit for your current situation. At that time, the army will only need to carry inhaled anesthetics. As soon as they met the bandits, they immediately began deploying them. Perform indiscriminate attacks. Even if the hostages were caught, it didn't matter. At most, he would just lose consciousness on the spot. At that point, all the bandits could be arrested. Whether you want to kill or farm is up to you. You immediately ordered the horn to be sounded to gather the troops. He had Xiao Yuan lead the team to Heihu stronghold. The Lord is proudly holding hostages and shouting at you. Have you brought the grain? One hand delivers grain, and the other hand. If you dare to play tricks, don't blame me for letting their heads fall to the ground. With a wave of his hand, batch after batch of steamed buns and braised pork. White rice porridge with pickled mustard was placed in front of them. The bandits were overjoyed at the sight. Everyone rushed over, scrambling to suck it in wildly. The creditor was so shocked his eyes widened. His eyes nearly popped out. Originally, he was asking for an exorbitant amount. They wanted to grab some grain to solve the shortage. But he never expected this. You actually have so much grain in hand. He suddenly felt that he only needed this little bit. It's really a loss. Now he's changed his mind. He wants you to provide Black Tiger's stronghold with the same amount of food every day. You sneered disdainfully. It's just an inch forward. You already imagined how Black Tiger Village would be. The notorious knockoff will never keep its promises. He will not keep his promises. Even if you give them food, they still harm the hostages. So you are well prepared. At your command, Xiao Yuan immediately led his men forward. Before the bandits could react, the soldiers then pulled out hidden weapons from their bodies. They hurled it onto the bandits. Once the anesthetic on the hidden weapon touches the bandit, it would immediately enter their bodies through the airway. Less than 5 minutes. The bandits were strewn across the ground. Each one stares at you with wide, longing eyes. Yet he couldn't even move a finger. You must immediately order people to arrest and bring them all back. He also had Xiao Yuan lead troops to besiege and eliminate Black Tiger's stronghold. They had been robbing it over the past decade or so. All the gold, silver, and jewels were brought back. After the anesthesia effect is removed, the chief cursed at you. You treacherous and lowly people. If you have the guts, fight me one-on-one. Why resort to such sinister methods? They actually use food to make us lower our guard. Simply shameless. But you don't feel angry at all. It was more like a compliment. After all, when everyone else was starving to death, yet you can keep the army shiny and glowing with a glow of skin. This shows just how skilled you are. And all of this was caused by a bowl of plain rice porridge. If you say it, no one would believe it. You can't be bothered to waste words with him. He directly ordered severe interrogation. Why would Black Tiger Stronghold suddenly want to rob your supplies? The creditor mocked him sarcastically. He just refused to confess. You didn't indulge him either. He directly ordered someone to bring a piece of white paper for fragrant incense. Then soak it in a basin of water. It was pressed right against the creditor's face. At first, creditors gritted their teeth and clenched their fists. Not a trace of giving up. But you don't even bother studying. He simply leisurely soaked the second sheet of paper and covered his face. As the paper increased, a strong sense of breath enveloped the creditor. Now he couldn't hold back any longer. He began to struggle desperately. You didn't immediately have someone remove the wet tissue from his face. Instead, he waited for him to struggle for a long time. When I really have no strength, you just took the wet paper off. The chief lay on the ground, mouth agape, taking deep breaths of fresh air. Now he was truly afraid. I don't dare go against you at all. Hands are on you to ask him again. Why did Black Tiger Stronghold suddenly do it? When you plundered your provisions. The chief immediately spoke without reservation. Honestly, they took minchings. The grain merchants sold everything cleanly. Mon is just a distance from you. The nearest town to the border town. Because you sent people to transport a large amount of supplies. When the craftsmen in the city leave, all surplus supplies were passed on to his relatives and friends. With this batch of supplies, Grain merchants in the city could no longer make money, because when famine strikes, these grain merchants immediately frantically purchase grain from Gwojiki. When the famine worsened, the grain they sell is also doubling rapidly. Nowadays, fewer and fewer people can afford grain, and yet you even sent cheap grain over. They want to get rid of you. That's why he colluded with the people from Black Tiger Stronghold, trying to cut off your food supply. The more you listen, the more you feel something is off. He quickly asked the deputy general responsible for transporting grain. You deliver grain to these places. How was the public handling after the town? The deputy general scratched his head. He glanced at you in confusion and retorted. Part of it was distributed to craftsmen willing to settle in the border town. Let them eat on the road. Some of the others were sold to others, those poor people who couldn't afford to eat. You quickly asked him what the selling price is. Upon hearing this, the deputy general proudly straightened his chest and raised his head. He patted his chest and promised, "My lord is so kind, benevolent, and considerate of the people. How could I possibly lose your face?" Of course, before the famine occurred, the grain sold at the lowest price. This ensures more impoverished people being able to eat these foods. Hearing him say that, you slammed the table in anger. It's truly unattainable. They actually sold food so cheaply. Isn't this just asking for trouble for yourself? The deputy general was confused. In his heart, you're so kind and righteous. At first, you were just a small supervisor. Yet they are willing to give to migrant workers who are neither related nor related. Free unlimited white rice and cabbage are provided. He believes that if you can see those towns, ordinary people on the verge of starvation, you definitely will do the same. It might even be possible to distribute grain for free. You're utterly speechless. What a great opportunity to attract talent and develop the population. They had completely destroyed it, and he almost lost his own life. The deputy general humbly seeks your advice. What would the Lord do? Needless to say, of course, just like those grain merchants, sell the grain dozens of times its value and make money. You just finished speaking. Everyone present looked at you in shock. It was as if they couldn't believe you were just as ruthless as those grain merchants. You quickly explained to them, you do this to make more of it. Only then did they voluntarily come to settle in a border town. Think about it. Grain prices are soaring everywhere. Ordinary people simply can't afford the high prices. Meanwhile, the border town you are in is free. Unlimited supply of various foods. Comparing the two ministers in this way, anyone with a solid mind would choose to seek refuge in the border town. So even if you do nothing, talent will come continuously and voluntarily. Everyone suddenly understood upon hearing this. Unexpectedly, the Lord was not only kind and righteous, and so intelligent and strategic. They become even more determined to follow you. With all your actions, more and more people came to the border town. At the same time, the major prefectures and prefectures also noticed. The people beneath him were frantically moving toward the border town. This is basically undermining their base. This major intelligence was reported layer by layer. The court soon learned of the matter. And you, the hidden force developing in the borderlands. He finally caught the attention of the imperial court. The court was furious. He immediately dispatched troops to besiege and eliminate the border town. But now it is a year of famine. Everywhere there was no harvest. The national treasury was empty and could not send troops at all. Provisions were even more scarce. Gathering enough supplies is not something that can be done overnight. So he was shouting out with righteous indignation, "I want to eliminate the court officials who are traitors and traitors like you." As soon as he heard the emperor ask everyone to donate money and grain, it instantly went silent. The military campaign to eliminate the traitors was once fierce and intense. It turned into a tug of war with various factions fighting over each other. Meanwhile, the border town is thriving under your rule. The people lived and worked in peace and contentment. Actively develop backup technologies. Many highly skilled craftsmen gather together. Each should showcase their strengths and exchange resources with one another. Finally, based on what you provided, iron smelting technology and weapon atlas, he developed the Zhuge and 8 ox dining beds. This is a powerful weapon for breaking through enemy walls on the battlefield. Even if the imperial army is equipped like that, a well-trained army of battles was at the gates of the city. You also have a certain guarantee of victory. But new problems arose. The court has been unable to gather enough provisions for a long time. So he chose to take a step back. The court issued decrees. From today, 株洲府不得向边城输送铁矿与兵甲. All city gates were immediately closed. Strict prohibition was given to the common people from fleeing to the border towns. Violators will be punished for treason. As everyone knows, there is no iron mine in the border town. As a result, your weapons production is forced to stop. Your subordinates gather around you, frowning with worried expressions. Iron ore is such a thing. No is nothing. Everyone was at a loss. But this is not a problem for you. You immediately open the system store and take a closer look. Sure enough, iron ore is the option, and you previously recruited a large number of talents. Acts of relief for disaster victims. Earn 200,000 reputation points. Now you have plenty of balance. Without hesitation, he immediately exchanged for the supply of infinite iron ore. The next second, piles of iron ore like small mountains appeared before him, and the number keeps growing. Everyone present was instantly stunned. The gaze he looks at you is full of admiration and awe. At this moment, in their eyes, you are no different from an immortal, if not a god. How could you have whatever you wanted, when everyone was short of food? You can get unlimited white porridge and pickled mustard greens. The court sealed off the iron mines. When weapons were limited by iron ore, you could produce countless iron ores. Your reputation as the reincarnation of a god spread like wildfire. Everyone seemed to be injected with adrenaline, desperately participating in training to manufacture weapons. And this time, the court's actions have completely angered you. You casually exchanged gunpowder and grenades. You know the formula for making gunpowder. But in this era of cold weapons, in the case of inexperience, recklessly dragging the war into a firearms, the times are extremely risky acts. It could even make the war more difficult. So you don't intend to mass-produce gunpowder. Instead, they exchange directly in the system mall. Ready-made grenades, treating it as a killer copper. Soon, 2 months passed. The hottest summer has also come to an end. The soldiers will no longer be exposed to the scorching sun. Non-combat casualties occurred. So this time, you don't plan to endure it any longer. He decided to strike first. Before the court could argue, it was over. He was the first to raise troops and launch an attack, just a day before you gave the order. When Xiao Yuan was patrolling with troops, it actually came from the dried-up Yellow River Channel. He unearthed a one-eyed stone man. News quickly spread like wildfire. A ballad quickly swept through the border town and spread in all directions. Countless people sang it aloud. The stone figure had one eye, stirring up rebellion across the Yellow River. That night, foxes shouted in unison around the camp. The world flourished greatly, defying heaven as king. Endless divine skills emerged one after another. And this time, you didn't suppress the news. Instead, he secretly fanned the flames. He spread these divine skills ever wider. Although feudal superstition is unacceptable, but such miracles do help win the hearts of the people. Sure enough, less than half a month passed. Your prestige has increased by 500,000. You decisively assembled an army of 500,000. He raised troops and advanced to the capital, capturing Wang Qingjuan's close attendants. You have been advancing with great vigor. Within a single day, 5 cities were taken in succession, because the people of the nearby cities have all heard of your deeds. I know that following you means I can make a living. The local soldiers were all locals. Naturally, it will also be affected. I don't want to fight you at all. During the siege, you can directly take plain steamed buns, braised pork, rice porridge, and pickled vegetables. These food were lined up in buckets before the formation. The soldiers instantly lost the will to fight. Some even opened the city gates and surrendered directly. You captured 5 cities without a single soldier. You reorganized the cities you have conquered while you're still conquering, while ordering people to spread the word. As long as I join you, I'll have a meal to eat. 3 meals a day include both meat and vegetables, unlimited portions. The soldiers and common people will not resent you. Instead, they waited anxiously for you to come to their rescue. So I waited until you were ready to regroup. When attacking the next city, the person hasn't arrived yet. The people killed the prefect and the city commander first. Open the city gates directly with the soldiers to welcome your arrival. Your generals are all stunned. Never before had they fought such an easy battle. Even if one day you start walking too slowly, the people couldn't wait any longer after spontaneously capturing the city. They will even send people to urge you to hurry and take over the city, not to mention your own soldiers. Even you, a well-traveled traveler, were a bit stunned. And so, you all surged forward with great speed. He conquered half the territory in one go. The army also expanded to 1 million men, and the main force of the imperial army was assembled. They were concentrated in the cities behind. This is no longer something ordinary people can resist, but you are not afraid at all, nor would they confront the imperial army head-on. Instead, he directly ordered 1 million. The army surrounded the entire city, cutting off their supply of provisions. But you do it every day with a wave of your hand. Tens of thousands of tons of steamed buns and braised pork. White rice porridge with pickled mustard appeared right before my eyes. The soldiers were already used to it. He just hugged a full bowl and wolfed it down by himself. Meanwhile, the imperial army was already short of provisions. He could only eat until he was about half full every day. Already starving, my eyes turned green. But now, I could only watch helplessly. So-called rebels enjoy the good and drink the spicy food. Everyone only ate their fill. He looked like he was about to die from the heat. Their envious tears streamed down their faces. How could they have the energy to defend the city? The siege lasted only 3 days. The soldiers in the city couldn't hold back any longer. He directly killed the defending general, opened the city gates, and surrendered. In the subsequent siege battles, you also face tough opponents. At this point, it's all about fighting for both sides. It's time for real combat power, and your hand will fall countless times. Originally, everyone was an expert. Military strategy is a terrifying presence. Moreover, along the way, conquering cities and territories was far too easy. They have no place to put their use to it. He was already frustrated. Now, I finally have the chance to show myself. Everyone instantly felt as if they were injected with adrenaline. All kinds of cunning schemes and tricks are constantly emerging. He brutally crushed the imperial army to the point of death. The court, angered by the dispatch. He actually unleashed the most shameless secret move of the lowest division. They actually treated the common people as hostages. This is to threaten you into retreating. Lin Bei, if you do not withdraw your troops, all these people must die. If you refuse to withdraw your troops, then the deaths of these commoners will be counted on you. Your prestige will be greatly diminished. You're almost laughing in anger. Even clowns dare to show off in front of you. You immediately exchanged for sunny sky dew in the system shop. The next second, the sky was filled with bird clouds. The rumbling of thunder never ceased. Purple lightning struck down like a storm covering the sky. The city defenders had long been terrified. They all knelt on the ground, kowtowing repeatedly. Heaven spare me. And so, you successfully captured the last city. They advanced straight into the palace. Thus, the emperor and the royal family became prisoners. Yet they still act all high and mighty. After all, since ancient times, there has always been a focus on legitimacy and legitimacy. Killing the emperor is meant to be nailed to the pillar of historical shame, and it also leads to unstable public sentiment. The royal family is certain you won't dare do anything to them, and they had to be treated to good food and drink. But you don't bite at all. Directly summoned Bolt from the blue. He chopped all these royals to pieces. Then he smoothly ascended the throne. At the coronation ceremony, your prestige reached 18 million, and immediately swept away his prestige. Changed to favorable weather. The next moment, the great Liang dynasty, which had suffered from drought for 3 years. Suddenly, autumn rain arrived. During this time, the entire nation was overjoyed. They all knelt in the direction of the palace. He shouted, "Long live," with his mouth open. Congratulations to the host for achieving domination. Reward 50 billion in cash. And 1 Changchun pill. The host can choose to return to the real world at any time. From then on, during your reign, the world is favored by favorable weather and timely rains. No one dares to resist your rule until you are about to die of old age. That's why you chose to return to the modern world. Then swallow the Changchun pill. Returning to youth, all ailments disappear. And there's 50 billion for you to enjoy for a lifetime.